Vow, view, vow, view, vow, view, vow, view, vow to view, vow, 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 vow to view,
vow to view each other's movies, even though we don't always like them, but it's okay because we love each other and movies too. Hey there, everyone! Welcome to Vow to View! This is your Daily Planet podcast all about marriage and the things we make each other watch. My name is Elyse Daly, and I've already done this intro 3 times.
Oh, maybe if you did it right the first time, we wouldn't have to do it over.
And maybe if someone wasn't a perfectionist, it would be okay.
Look, I just want to make good radio.
This isn't radio, this is podcasting.
Because I'm Scott Daly.
And together...
we're the Dalys.
Don't say it like that. That's rude.
You're the one being rude to me.
I'm not being rude. You're the one that's made me start over 3 times.
Well, that's because you screwed it up twice.
I did not screw it up. It sounded fine. It would have been perfect. Everyone would have gotten a kick out of it. They would have really seen the real me, not that they don't already. And they would have been like, you know what? That's so Elyse.
I don't blame people for their problems. But I do ask that they pay for them. It's a quote from
the movie that he's going to be quoting all night because he was quoting it the entire time that we were watching it.
Not the entire time. Look, this
Hey, Elyse, you know what? This movie this movie Jurassic Park, I know it just about as good as Ghostbusters.
I don't like your impression of my voice.
It's not a very good one.
I think it's deeper than I actually
It
talk.
really is.
This is a podcast about love, although you wouldn't believe it.
I've already said that.
Hearing this part.
Well, I guess marriage, you don't have to have love.
That's true.
So, loveless marriage. So, this is all about love, the love we have for each other in our marriage.
This is the podcast where each week we pick a movie and make the other person watch it.
Yeah.
And then we talk about what we learned about them, about the movie a little bit. And
about
then
the movie a little bit.
About maybe how this is the one finally that just destroys this beautiful relationship we have.
This does not destroy. We both enjoyed each of these movies.
I know, but you're just like you've started this podcast like you're in a mood.
I've started it like 3 times.
You're in a mood.
Yeah, I have. I started it 3 times.
You're in a mood. The problem is Elyse drank wine before we started this, and when Elyse drinks wine, she gets like very testy.
The problem is
very testy.
Scott is really picky.
Hey, Elyse.
What?
Can we start the podcast now?
No.
What are we going to do?
Because 3rd time's the charm, and if you make me do it a 4th time, I'm just going to keep doing what I wanted to do the original time, and then we're going to keep doing it over again, and then you're going to get frustrated more and more, and you're going to be like, Elyse, just do what I have written. And I'll be like, Scott, you can't contain me to a script. It's not going to happen. This is more of an outline. It's a guideline. You got to let me do what I got to do.
I didn't say start over the podcast. I said get into the podcast.
Oh, I thought you said start over.
I did not.
You know what? When I listen back to this tomorrow, I'm going to see if he said start over or not.
I said start.
And then we'll go over.
Yeah.
But
it's the cool thing. The cool thing about this podcast, guys,
is it's recorded.
Yeah. So we have a recording of our arguments that we can play back to see who was right.
Doesn't everyone always wish their arguments were recorded?
Know. We have them right here.
We do, because this is the only time we would ever debate.
Yeah, we don't actually talk to each other at all outside of this hour.
No, we don't. It's pretty much just through the phone communication. We'll email back and forth, maybe text. I don't really like to have a lot of dialogue with him.
I do a lot of like head nods. Like I'll see you and just be like, I'm
that movie we saw last week, A Quiet Place. That's pretty much the state that we live in.
Our marriage
all the time is the quiet place. And you know what? I kind of like it that way.
Wow.
What?
Elyse,
yeah?
Steven Spielberg.
Your favorite director.
I go back and forth on that.
Oh, do you? Who's the other one you go back and forth with?
By back and forth, I mean like my favorite director changes every week. Steven Spielberg, I think, is one of the finest directors ever. Though. So I don't know why I'm arguing this. My favorite director, Steven Spielberg.
And now we've got it recorded, so it will be definite.
We picked this because Ready Player One came out not last weekend, but the weekend after. We're a little bit behind, but
it wasn't last weekend?
No, it's been, as of tomorrow, 2 weeks.
Well, time flies, and so does Peter Pan.
So we thought we would do like a Spielberg special because we couldn't think of anything else to do, and we picked a couple Spielberg movies that we liked that were maybe important to us.
And
as
one
kids
of us,
a little bit.
Me, picked the best one ever.
Well, let's not go that far. So what do you think of Steven Spielberg? Do you like him? Are you a Spielberg fan?
He's sometimes hit or miss for me.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know what it is. There's certain movies, certain types of movies that I feel like he does well. And I was going through and I was trying to think, what are the ones that I really like that he does? All of his World War II movies, I really like that I have seen. Or like historical movies. Let's go there. Let's say historical movies.
I think there's 2 World War II movies and you haven't seen one of them.
Isn't Empire of the Sun one?
Yeah.
Isn't it set in World War II?
Yeah.
I've seen 2 of the 3. I liked all of those. I felt like I liked Munich. I felt like Lincoln was done well. What was the other one? Not The Post, but it was more recent. Bridge of Spies. World War. No, that's not.
Post. That was after World War II.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because that was with Russia.
It was Cold War. Yes.
Cold War. I feel like he does that really well, and I feel like he does children's blockbuster that appeals not necessarily to just children, but to like the adult nostalgia type thing. I don't know. I feel like E.T., Hook, Jurassic Park, Jaws, like all of those types of movies fall into the same category. His earlier stuff like that. His later stuff like that I have not liked as much. Like the BFG, Ready Player One, Tintin. I did not like Tintin. I hated Tintin.
Excellent.
So it's like it's pretty hit or miss for me. And then, I was not necessarily a huge fan of the movie that he did most recently, The Post. That was not, I think it was just Meryl Streep. I think it really was just Meryl Streep.
You cannot.
Yeah. But I think he does blockbuster really well.
Well, he invented it, so.
I think he does that really well, and I think his historical movies are really good. But I will not always love a Steven Spielberg movie.
No, I mean, I don't either. I don't think the movie you picked is particularly good.
So wrong. It's so good.
I didn't like the BFG. I wanted to like the BFG. I didn't like it.
I did too. I've made my kids watch it like twice, thinking maybe I'll like it better the second time. Mostly what I make my kids watch or whatever is whatever I want to watch.
I think nobody understands. I think nobody like. I get kind of torn because I think there is absolutely such a thing as talent. I think a person can learn anything, right? Like I think human beings have the capable of gaining skill at anything.
Yeah.
But there are people that are just instinctively better at some stuff.
Like me.
Oh, sure.
I'm instinctively better at this.
At what?
This podcasting.
Oh, okay.
I'm really good at it, guys.
Okay. You're the Steven Spielberg of podcasting.
Yeah, get me talking about history, get me talking about children, get me talking about life.
What is the accent you're doing?
It's the Steven Spielberg accent. It's the big star director accent. It's the I do what I want accent.
It's the you're getting too loud accent.
It's the I don't care, I'm good at this accent.
Okay, stop doing it though, because I have to clean it up.
Fine, I will stop for now. Because I want to, not because you asked me to.
Now I forgot what I was talking about.
You're talking about how some people are instinctively better at things.
Oh, yes.
Because I'm instinctively better at this.
I think Steven Spielberg...
And remembering these things.
I think Steven Spielberg was born to make movies. I think he just understands cinema in a way that, in a natural kind of way. Like he knows more about how to tell a story via camera angles and positioning and camera moves and cutting and all the things that directors have in their tool belt on like a level that just like he started out as a kid and he was 20 years old and he just knew how to do it. He just knew how to do it.
When you're 20, you're not really a kid.
Okay, that's quibbling, but he was very young when he started.
That's true. His 20 is very young.
Yes. And the reason why I don't think, I mean, a lot of people love Steven Spielberg movies, and they count them as some of their favorite movies. But I think, like, he doesn't come off as a very showy director. I think his greatest skill is hiding some of his big directorial flourishes. Like, when you think of Steven Spielberg, you don't think of long oneers, like the one-take shots that don't cut.
Yeah.
But he puts those in every single one of his movies. They're just so, like, they don't call attention to themselves. They're there, and they communicate something to you without you really realizing it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's awesome. And I think that's why, like, that's the thing about film, is, like, people know when they like something, but they often don't know when you get really into, like, the nitty-gritty technical details of a movie. They can't explain why the movie worked on them, why they felt this movie was more emotional than that movie, why did this scene work on them more. And that's a lot of the technical hidden aspects of composition and framing and lighting and editing and how you move your camera, all these things. And I just think he's a master of it all. He communicates emotion through film in a way not many other directors do. And I love that. Even in Ready Player One, even in a movie that I didn't particularly like. We talked about it on Daily Planet Podcast this week. Go look at that.
Oh, Daily Planet Podcast, DPP.
Plugged. Even in that movie that I didn't particularly like, and I thought that a lot of the emotionality between the characters, because the characters are really poorly written, I think the scenes conveyed emotion still. Like, even at the end of the movie, like, there's a very emotional scene at the end of the movie, and you felt it. Because he knows how to shoot movies really well. And I think that's what he's so good at.
So here's my question for you. Because I feel like, at least with me, there are definite movies where I like his movies. And there are definite ones where I do not like. And I don't really have a whole lot for him that's in between. It's like, oh no, I didn't like it. Or, oh yes, I did. So what do you think is probably his most well-known movie that he has gotten maybe more recognition for that you just do not like? Or is there one that you can think of?
I don't know. I mean, like, a lot of his earlier movies aren't, like, he started off very well. And then there's 1946, which I think is another World War. He has a lot of World War II movies. You were right. But a lot of his earlier stuff was okay. I mean, Jaws was his first big thing, and Jaws is one of the greatest movies of all time. No, I mean, I don't think there's ever been a movie that I've seen that, like, people love and say, this is great Steven Spielberg, that I'm just like, nah.
Okay.
And I don't really, like, I wouldn't say I hated any of his movies. I don't think The BFG is a very good movie. I don't think Ready Player One's a very good movie, but I wouldn't say I hated them. I think I can look at them and I can see the Spielberginess and the schmaltziness that he sometimes puts in his movies. Even Hook. I don't think that's a particularly good movie. I know absolutely why I liked that movie as a kid, and we're going to talk all about that in a minute. But no, I don't. There's nothing I would say I hated of his.
Okay, and then here's the biggest debate with Steven Spielberg.
Oh.
Are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
Okay. Who does Steven Spielberg actually like more? Harrison Ford or Tom Hanks?
I think right now it's Mark Rylance.
I think it's either Harrison Ford or Tom Hanks.
I think Steven Spielberg has said he's never going to make another movie that doesn't have Mark Rylance in it. So.
Did he say that?
He did. I think he was being a little...
Was Mark Rylance in the post?
I don't know.
Exactly. I don't think he was.
Um,
Steven Spielberg is a liar.
I think he's used Tom Hanks more than he's used Harrison Ford.
I think it's because Tom Hanks is a better actor than Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
I think Harrison Ford's fun. But if I had to pick between the two, I like Tom Hanks a lot more than I like Harrison Ford.
Tom Hanks is a better actor. Harrison Ford just brings a lot of charisma and energy to things.
Harrison Ford's aged more handsome.
Okay.
If that's into play at all.
Mean.
I will just say.
All right, so let's talk about our movies.
But Tom Hanks
then.
is too.
We set about to pick our favorite Steven Spielberg movies. And you have picked...
Yes. I have picked the best childhood movie ever that Steven Spielberg has made. I have picked Hook. So Hook came out in 1991, which I didn't even see it when it originally came out because I was 2 years old whenever that came out. But it was written by Jim B. Hart and Malia Scotch-Marmo. And of course it was directed by Steven Spielberg. So if you haven't seen it before, this is a movie that when Captain Hook kidnaps his children, Peter Banning's children, an adult Peter Pan must return to Neverland and reclaim his youthful spirit in order to challenge his old enemy. And I'm just going to admit this out front. I don't know. I guess it was just the enunciation was not great. Not until this time that I have seen the movie did I realize it was Peter Banning with a B instead of Peter Panning with a P.
That would be a little too on the nose.
I know. I was like,
I'm not
how
Peter
do people
Pan.
not understand this?
I'm Peter Panning.
I know. I was like, it's Peter Panning. Anyways. But I absolutely love this movie. And I don't know the first time that I saw it, but I do know that I watched it almost every year whenever we were road tripping during elementary and middle school to Colorado, because I think I had mentioned this before that we would take road trips with my family. And so we did not have TVs or DVD players or anything built into the car. And so when we did these long road trips, we got a TV that had an adapter that would go into your little cigarette lighter, and we would have a huge bag of all of these VHS movies that we would watch during the entire road trip. And there was a set of movies that we were more likely to watch because my dad liked the movies and he enjoyed listening to them. And then there was the few that we got in there that we were like, oh, we love this movie, and we'll just let my dad have maybe a movie or two break so that we can watch something that we liked as well. Not that I didn't like this, but so this was a road trip movie where during the road trip we were allowed to watch this movie. We could watch it almost as many times as we wanted to because it was something that he enjoyed and he would listen to, and we really liked it. We started falling in love with it and we'd watch that more and more and more. And so it's a road trip movie, but it's really fun. I really like the story of Peter Pan. Another movie that I like it's about the same story, Finding Neverland. It's just the whole idea of the kid who is in Neverland that doesn't want to grow up, and the Lost Boys, and then the pirates, and it's a fun fairy tale. And there's lots of different versions that have happened with it. I think I've talked to you before about Peter and the Starcatcher, and so it's just it's one of those fairy tales that I love. And so having the one where it's post actual Peter Pan coming back to become the Peter Pan after he actually did grow up, which is the thing that he said he wasn't going to do. And just seeing kind of the new take on it. I really liked it.
So how did it hold up?
Oh, it was perfect. It held up fantastic. It's everything I wanted. I could still quote it. I still enjoyed the jokes. I laughed at new ones. The music was great. Not that they were new, but then, you watch it and then you didn't realize all the jokes the first time around. It's just so great. I do the hand motion.
She's doing the hook motion.
So this is also one of the movies where I think it was the first one I ever saw Dustin Hoffman in, and the way that they shoot him, I was so surprised to find out that he was so short in real life. I was just like, Hook looks so tall. He always looks so tall. How did they disguise him
Robin
like that?
Williams is not very tall either.
No, and then you look at Captain Hook's heels that he wears the whole time. But it's kind of funny because the movies that I associate Dustin Hoffman with the most are this and Tootsie, which are just quite the character actors for him.
Yes.
But
a pirate and a woman.
A pirate and a woman. I mean, I'm sure he was playing them quite the same. Yeah. But it's so much fun. It's just so much fun. It's so quotable. It's just, you enjoy it. It may not be the most technically directorial whatever, but it is by far and large one of the most fun.
See, I don't even think that's true.
I think it is.
He makes so many more fun movies than this.
It's not true, guys. Just relax. I'm right.
It's a fine movie. I think that Dustin Hoffman is the thing that elevates this. I don't even think Robin Williams is particularly good in this movie. I think he's so good.
I
think he has a few times where he is allowed to be himself that he's good, but so much of this movie he has to play like the reserved, non-silly adult person that he doesn't really get to be himself, and I think that sucks.
Can we just talk about my favorite scene for a bit?
Okay.
I've got a couple, but the insult scene, which is the scene that I think that he kind of gets to be himself at towards the end.
Yeah, well, that's the sign of the
where
shift.
He breaks it. Yeah, and the food fight with it. That was like the most delicious display of food that I thought ever when I was a child, and still sometimes think it looks delicious because I think it's just a bunch of icing and pie tins. You know how much I like icing.
You do?
I love icing.
And it's so multicolored.
I'll just eat icing.
I mean, that's literally true.
I had a spoonful of icing before I started.
It's weird.
This. It's just so good.
And
it's just so fun.
Yeah, I mean, look, I enjoyed this movie more than I thought I was going to. I still will
Bing-a-ring, Scotty!
I still will not say it's very good, but there's fun moments in it.
I can't whistle. That's why I have to
do that. The Lost Boys are
noise.
great. The big fat kid that rolls down the plank like a cannonball. That was pretty funny.
I had a student that looked exactly like him.
That's mean.
2 years ago. No. I don't mean it mean at all. I mean legitimately, he looked exactly like him.
Okay.
It was kind of scary.
Okay.
Did you
say, do you remember your mother, Peter?
No, but I told my coworkers, I was like, oh my gosh, have you ever seen Hook? And then, of course, only Caroline had really seen a Hook. And I said, he's the kid. He's the kid in Hook. And she goes, oh my gosh. It was a good moment for us.
Yeah, he lost him good. That's the only lines I remember from that kid.
I just loved it when he took his legs up at the end and he turned himself into a ball and then he was rolled down.
Yeah, that's not possible.
I know. I tried.
You did?
Oh my gosh. I tried so many things after this movie.
This is an interesting...
Food fights. I tried the insults. I was not allowed to do the insults like that.
This is an interesting movie because I think your like for it is based very largely on how old you were when you saw it. People older than us do not like this movie. If you were a teenager
weird.
or an adult the first time you saw this movie, I do not think you would like it.
My parents liked it. My parents knew true cinema.
I'm sure they liked it.
My dad liked it.
Sure.
My dad liked it. He likes Robin Williams.
There are just a lot of weird parts to it. I mean, I think the idea itself is cool. The idea of the guy who never wanted to grow up is a grown-up now, and he has to relearn how to be a child. And that, I think, is so Spielberg. This idea of capturing your childhood and never wanting to let go of your childhood and having to find a way back to being a kid is very Spielberg.
I agree with that.
That's one of the things he's most interested in, especially the idea of like an absentee shitty father. If you haven't noticed, looking through Spielberg's filmography, he's got issues with his dad, and you can see that in every single one of his movies. So a lot of his characters are either bad dads or people with bad dads.
Yeah, or no dads.
Yeah, or no dads. So Peter Pan is a shitty father until the end when he rediscovers his childhood.
And then he learns to play with his children.
Yeah.
And it's so beautiful.
Tinkerbell's weird.
Tinkerbell is weird. I did not
Julia
like Tinkerbell
Roberts.
in here. And as much as I like Julia Roberts, I think that Julia Roberts was Tinkerbell because this was like the golden age for Julia Roberts. This was anything and everything. She was the girl next door. But it was interesting. I told you I read that they called her Tinker Hell because she was such a like little princess on the entire set, and she was just so horrible to everybody that nobody liked having her around.
Poor Julia.
You know, she had a person because she was always shot, or not always shot, but a lot of her shots showed the bottom of her feet. Mm-hmm. She had an assistant whose sole purpose was to clean her feet.
Babe, they get dirty. You gotta get the feet cleaner.
That is ridiculous.
I wonder if that feet cleaner ever made it in Hollywood.
Probably not. Oh, on your resume, I cleaned Julia Roberts' feet.
I believe they would probably list that as assistant to Miss Roberts. I don't think they would say Julia Roberts' feet.
Oh, so
cleaner.
how did you assist her? What did you do on the interview?
Anything she needed. Anything she
cleaned
needed.
her feet.
Anything she
Her
needed.
feet were dirty. She was Tinkerbell.
I don't like the plot where Tinkerbell makes herself big and then
that was
so
weird.
she can make
you know
out
what?
with
We
Peter
just gloss
Pan.
over that.
Like,
we just
what
don't even.
when you're writing that part of the script, are you just like, yeah? And what this story really needs is a love triangle between
It was weird.
Peter Pan.
I give you that. It was strange.
The granddaughter of the woman he liked, and then Tinkerbell. That's the great love triangle of the film.
Yeah, that wasn't great.
I do like the parts where the idea of for Hook to make the kids like him just to be an asshole is pretty great. And the weirdness of Neverland and the idea that you just forget stuff.
And the actual, he was joking, but all joking aside, parents read their children books to shut them up at night and get them to go to sleep.
She reads you the story to shut you up. That was such a great, Dustin Hoffman's performance in this movie is the movie, I think.
I know.
I mean, there's a reason why the movie's called Hook and not Old Peter Pan.
Yeah.
Because
Dustin Hoffman is the movie.
He is absolutely the movie. Like the and you can tell Hoffman's having a lot of fun with it.
Some of his friends still call him
himself.
Hook because of this performance.
Don't try to stop me, Smee. Don't you dare try to stop me, Smee. Smee, try to stop
me. Try
Smee.
to stop me. Yes.
I love Dustin Hoffman, even though apparently he's a dick.
Don't tell me that.
Sorry, he's an asshole. And he might have done some inappropriate things with women.
Oh, I did read that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I did read that. That was unfortunate. There were a lot of people on that list.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't mean we can't appreciate his old work, though.
No.
He was a talented actor.
Is
a talented actor.
Is very talented.
Okay, so I guess it's time to talk about the elephant in the room, Elyse. It's time to talk about
what is that?
Rufio.
I love Rufio. Oh my gosh.
Rufio.
Rufio.
I think my favorite part of the movie is at the same time as your favorite part of the movie, which is the name calling fight, where Rufio attempts to start a Rufio chant.
You
by
man,
himself.
you stupid man.
He just starts going Rufio. Everyone's cheering for Peter Pan, and he starts to start his own name chant, and it doesn't work at all.
Oh,
but I mean, the thing we have to talk about here is Rufio's death, because this is a movie for children.
Yeah,
but this movie gets dark.
It does at the end.
The not even at the end. The Hook kidnapping the kids, and then that's pretty creepy.
It's happened in other children's books.
Yeah, but it's dark.
Tuck Everlasting. They kidnapped Winnie.
I'm not talking about the act of kidnapping. I'm talking about how the kidnapping was done.
Oh yeah, that was
it is
freaky.
Intense and freaky.
I was really kind of scared when I was little watching that. The hook thing and how it just goes up, and then they turned the lights in and made them green. And then green lights for that was real creepy.
The covers fly off straight up.
Yeah,
and then when they get back to the place, the hook has apparently just wandered around the house dragging his hook for no reason.
And before we move on, can I just share the bit that I found out whenever I was little and I thought, oh my gosh, how creepy, how scary. And then I turned and I said, you know, whenever I found this out, it was like the coolest thing. And I was so in awe that the voice of the pilot on the plane going from the United States to London is Captain Hook. It is Dustin Hoffman flying the plane. Captain Hook is flying the plane.
Well, and Smee is the guy at the end of the movie who's the street cleaner. So yeah. I mean, there's a lot of interesting things you could say.
So was it all made up?
Was it a dream? Is Robin Williams dreaming? No, I don't think the movie is that.
I don't think it was that either.
So Rufio dies.
Rufio. Oh.
You don't have to do that every time we say his name.
Yes, I do.
Rufio dies, babe. Rufio dies.
I know, I was really sad about that because when I saw this, I had a big girl crush on him.
This movie came out in 91, so I was 6 years old. I don't remember if I saw this movie. I don't think I saw this movie in the theater, but I was not too much older than 6 when I saw it. Maybe I was 7 or something. Mm-hmm. This was like one of the first movies that I had to really like deal with death in it. And so I will always remember Rufio's death because it's like, oh, he's dead. He's gone.
Yeah, he's not coming back.
And
if you die in Neverland, you're dead.
Well, I mean, you just die. Mm-hmm. Looky, I got hooky. But he didn't though.
And then he got stabbed in the heart.
He did. Mm-hmm. And then he said goodbye to Peter in the most beautiful way.
I wish he could have had a dad
like you.
Mm-hmm. It was good. It was sad. It wasn't if it was the first time that I'd ever seen a death on screen and knew what that was, that's not what I associate it with. I really think that one of my first memories of that was Bambi and Fox and the Hound. I think those are my two. I
mean, okay, those are cartoons.
But I think it still teaches you about it.
Yeah,
you know,
but there's
like
something
even when you have a pet,
about
it's like when you have a pet die, which is probably more likely to have happened before a person that you know in your family dies. It's kind of like that precursor to it.
Yeah, I guess.
Which we had a sad incident. I don't think I told you this. At our school.
Did the guinea pig die?
Not the guinea pig in our grade level, but our counselor. Her guinea pig died.
Oh no!
So we have a widower. So Watson doesn't have a wife anymore. They got married.
The guinea pigs.
We had a wedding for the guinea pigs at our school.
Tell them about the guinea pig wedding. About how you couldn't leave the two guinea pigs alone together.
Yeah, you're not allowed to let the guinea pigs be in the same area together because they will automatically try and procreate.
They're gonna bang.
So basically, one of the teachers held the boy guinea pig almost the entire time.
Look, he just wants to get some of that guinea pig.
Yeah.
And now, which one died, the boy or the girl?
The girl.
Aww.
I know. Cookie died. And the sad part is that because of our testing, the counselor hasn't been able to have any of the classes, and she doesn't want to just like tell the kids. So none of the kids know that Cookie's dead, and it's been almost 2 weeks.
Oh my God.
I know.
They're going to be so devastated.
They're going to be so sad.
Poor Cookie.
I know.
Rufio.
But Rufio. Oh.
You don't have to do it every time.
Yes, I do. Rufio was in another movie.
He's been in a few movies.
Well, he hasn't been in a lot. I think Rufio was his big role.
Well, yes.
Which is kind of sad in life because it was really when he was young. But he was in a dancing movie.
Okay.
And he crawled on the dance floor and then looked at the camera really strange.
This is
I remember
a very
I watched
specific
it.
memory.
Well, that's because the only reason I watched the movie was because I thought to myself, Rufio, what has he done in his later life? And it was this dancing movie.
He's done nothing because he's dead.
No, I mean, I guess Rufio hasn't, but the actor has.
All right. Anything else you want to talk about Hook? Here's the thing. This is not a very good movie. I don't think it is. I still look at this movie and I look at some of the other movies and I got to compare this movie directly with my movie that I watched. So I got them both fresh on my head. Steven Spielberg has made way better movies than this, but it's Steven Spielberg. And even if I don't think the script is very good, even though the movie is weird and kind of, there's some tonally weird parts too sometimes. It was fun. There was still some. I still enjoyed some of this movie. I enjoyed Dustin Hoffman so much. I think the ending battle works on me a lot less than it did, I think, when I was a kid, because it just gets like so silly. But I like one of the parts I really like is when you're seeing the kids like armor up and they're like walking through the wall of stuff, and when they come out the other side, they're like fully geared out in armor. I thought that was cool when I was a kid, and it still is. But I don't think it's a very good movie.
I think it's fun. And I think that a lot of times you don't necessarily have movies that are just fun. You know, and it doesn't have to be some big statement. It doesn't have to be some, like, anything other than it's exciting. It's an action movie for kids. And there are, like, it's just, your entire family can sit down and watch it, and there's nothing, like, grotesque about it. You can just watch it, and it's there. There are weird parts. I agree with it. Tinkerbell, the whole thing was strange. But I mean, it's fun.
The movie's making
I love
a
it.
statement. The movie's absolutely making a statement.
Not like it's saying something about childhood and about family, but it's not like The Post.
Well, no. I mean,
you know,
it's a different kind of movie. But
it is.
I don't think.
And
I reject this idea that movies don't have to say anything, because I think they should, and most of them do.
And I think that this one, like,
Jurassic Park
it does,
says
but
stuff.
it says something.
E.T. says stuff.
It says something in a
Jaws
way
says stuff.
that a family can still enjoy it.
Yeah, but I think the same is true for a lot of other Spielberg movies.
For some of them, yeah.
E.T.
Yeah. Because it falls into the same category as Hook.
It's way, way better.
I didn't like E.T. as much. I got kind of freaked out by E.T.
I mean, so did I, but I got freaked out by this movie when I was a kid.
I didn't get freaked out by it. Well, I guess I did talk about the kidnapping thing, but
All right.
I really enjoyed it. Did you learn anything about me?
I mean, I learned that your taste in movies is kind of weird. I'm just kidding, babe. Of course you like this movie. Like, this movie has it is your sense of humor. You like Robin Williams a lot. Robin Williams' sense of humor is Elyse's sense of humor. He's very silly and flamboyant and loud and kind of just like goes really fast and doesn't stop and talks very quickly and changes topics randomly, which is like talking to Robin Williams must have been like what I feel recording podcasts with you, because he just
when he was performing on stage.
Yeah.
But he had a whole nother side to him.
Of course he did. That's performance.
Mm-hmm. Just like me.
I miss Robin Williams.
I do too.
He's really great.
And that was the thing I also had told you was, you know, you're all like, Steven Spielberg regretted making this movie. This is Steven Spielberg's worst movie. He didn't like this movie.
I didn't say any of those things.
I thought you did. Anyways. One thing that he really appreciated about this movie was that it led him to Robin Williams, and him and Robin Williams became really great friends because of this movie. And so had he not made this movie, he would not have ever known Robin. And so he watched the movie after Robin Williams passed away, and as much as it's not his best work,
I would never say this movie should not have been made.
Well,
I'm just gonna in my ranking of Spielberg, this is in my bottom 5.
Not in my bottom 5.
But we're gonna move to my top 5.
Okay.
Right after this.
This week we are not brought to you by
By what, Elyse?
Cinnaholic Cinnabons.
Elyse?
Build your own Cinnabon.
Oh, guys, I've been waiting for this for a whole week. Elyse, would you like to tell the Cinnabon story?
We are definitely not sponsored by them, but have given them a lot of our money.
So let's set the stage here. Every month,
Yes, every month.
a new group of
A new team of
team of
teachers.
teachers
Yes.
brings lunch
Provides-
for everyone on the faculty.
Not lunch, we provide breakfast.
breakfast.
It's a potluck breakfast, and so we each rotate once a month. And this past week was our team's turn, and so we decided we want to do something fun. And so we had it narrowed down to two things. Number one, there's this really nice donut place that served these warm donuts that our teachers liked, and so we thought, we could just bring a bunch of donuts. Only this place is kind of far away, and so we thought, it'd just be us waking up a little bit earlier, a bit earlier in order to go get the warm donuts, or we could do build your own cinnamon rolls, where you have cinnamon rolls, you get some icing, some different flavors of icing, and you get to put whatever toppings it is that you want on it, and you get to do that because at this wonderful place called Cinnaholic, that is what you do. You get a cinnamon roll. It's a warm cinnamon roll. You get to choose between quite a few different flavors of icing, and then you get your toppings.
This is unnecessary parts of the story.
We decided we would do that, and then we ended up thinking, instead of us making 60 cinnamon rolls, let's just purchase 60 cinnamon rolls. So we called around to different places. One of my teammates called some places. I called this place Cinnaholic because I knew that they built their own. So I called and I said, how much would it be for a dozen cinnamon rolls? No icing on them, just a dozen cinnamon rolls. They quoted me for a dozen cinnamon rolls at $9, which, you know what, is a great deal. I thought it was kind of cheap, but it was a good deal. So I went back to my team. I happily reported that, it's only going to be $9. We're going to get 5 dozen cinnamon rolls. So that's only what? $45? Definitely in the budget. We can do it. So I called and ordered the 5 dozen cinnamon rolls. Then whenever I got to the place on said day of pickup, they way underestimated and did not give me the correct quote.
Hey,
so instead
Elyse,
of it being $45, it definitely cost $285 for 5 dozen cinnamon rolls.
Plus tax.
Plus tax.
Elyse spent $300
I spent $300 on cinnamon rolls.
You called me in the biggest huff I've ever heard you in.
I was so mad.
But here's the thing I don't understand.
I was so mad.
You walk into the store.
Mm-hmm.
They tell you the final price.
You're so upset you don't even know what to do. You're so flustered.
Hey, they quoted me over the phone at $9, which, by the way, is an absurdly low price for a dozen cinnamon
I was
rolls.
like, wow, this is great, guys.
It's less than $1 a cinnamon roll. There's no way it would ever have been that cheap. But you didn't challenge. You let them get away with it, and now you've just single-handedly kept that store afloat for the next month.
Not single-handedly. They're fine. It's a big company. But you know what? What was reassuring to me was the amount of teachers at my school who kept on saying, oh my gosh, those cinnamon rolls were so great. Where did you get those cinnamon rolls from? And they kept asking. So at least I spent $300 on cinnamon rolls that were delicious cinnamon rolls.
Well, that's all that matters, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that was our break. That was their sponsor.
Brought to you by Cinnaholic. Build your own cinnamon roll if you do so, please. There are multiple locations, not only in our town. The most recent one opened up in Jacksonville, Florida. If you live anywhere close, that would be wonderful for you to go and build your own cinnamon roll with Cinnaholic, all vegan products.
They are $9 for 2, not for a dozen.
Yeah.
For 2.
Yeah.
We'll be right back. And we are back. What's that?
That was my impression of the bake from the Great British Bake Off.
Oh.
Fuck!
Oh, this is time for my movie. This was a hard decision for me.
Was it?
It was. I like a lot of Spielberg movies. I really love Jaws. I really love
I'd be
Indiana
okay if
Jones.
Oh, we should have watched an Indiana Jones.
But I felt like if you're picking a movie that you really loved in your childhood that you watched as a kid a lot, I felt like I had to do the same. And as much as I liked E.T. a lot, I did not watch E.T. as much as I watched my pick, which was 1993's Jurassic Park.
I liked Jurassic Park a whole lot. I was really scared of it when I was little too, because the dinosaurs were very frightening. But it was a good movie. So please do tell me, what about Jurassic Park?
This came out in 1993, which means Scott was 8 years old, which is prime
Jurassic
dinosaur
Park,
age. It was written by Michael Crichton, based off of his
the
book.
novel.
No, he wrote the screenplay as well.
He wrote the novel first, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay,
yes.
That's what I thought.
He wrote the novel. Spielberg liked it, and he helped co-write the screenplay with James Cope. Of course, directed by Steven Spielberg.
Of course.
Starring Sam Neill, Laura Dern, Jeff Goldblum.
So,
Richard Attenborough.
Did I tell everyone that I've taken a Celebrity Soulmates quiz and Jeff Goldblum is one of my soulmates?
Here's the thing about Jeff Goldblum, though. He's everybody's soulmate.
It's true. But you know who my real soulmate in that quiz was? Chris Martin. It's one of the reasons I love Coldplay so much.
You love Coldplay because you took a quiz that said your soulmate was Chris Martin?
No, I loved Coldplay before that, and then I was like, oh my gosh, it is meant to be. Not only did I love the band, but Chris Martin is my soulmate? What? Sorry.
Elyse likes
Please continue.
Really stupid quizzes, if you haven't noticed.
Please continue. What else about Jurassic Park did you like?
I mean,
your prime dinosaur
all of
age.
It, yeah. So one of the things that I remember, we moved to Texas. I was born in New Jersey. We moved to Texas when I was 7. So it was 1990. I think it was 93. This movie came out in 93. I think it
did come out in 93.
Yeah. And I remember one of the first things we did in Texas is we went to a museum. I don't remember where it was, in Dallas somewhere. Went to a museum and they had I don't know. It was a Jurassic Park. The movie had not come out yet. The movie came out the summer of 93. And I think this was early spring. And they had I don't know if it was a rolling exhibit that was going to multiple museums or not, or if this was a special thing for Dallas. I don't know. I just remember they had a bunch of stuff from the movie. They were playing part of the T-Rex paddock scene over and over again and had a bunch of props and stuff from the film and all this stuff. And 7-year-old Scott was like,
what is this movie?
This is the
Dinosaurs are real.
And I remember going to see this in the theater. That's I've seen so many movies in the theater that having specific memories when I was a kid of going to a theater
Was this the first movie that you saw in a theater?
No, heck no.
Okay, good.
I was 7 years old. No way.
Because I was gonna say, we are gonna do that for a different one.
But I remember the theater experience for this. I remember being terrified and laughing and happy and enjoying every moment of this wonderful, wonderful movie. And I really do think this is peak action adventure blockbuster. I don't think it gets much better than this movie. I think the script is this movie still holds up. It really does.
Yeah.
I can't believe how well the special effects hold up too. Even the CG stuff still holds up surprisingly well.
I think that the reason that is though is that it wasn't so over the top. I think about the Star Wars and about how a lot of their stuff seemed not everything in this movie was completely computer, was it?
No.
A lot of it was just built, and I don't know what you call that.
Animatronics.
Animatronics. And so I think that when you use a lot of the animatronics to where it doesn't look computer fake, and then that technology kind of dies out, I think it holds a little bit better.
Yeah, well,
because that's what they went back in Star Wars and did that too, didn't they? In like the last two was in the first three, which we do not speak of, where they did all of the stuff.
Which ones are you talking about?
I'm talking about Force Awakens and Last Jedi, where they went back to, there was
there
CGI,
are more practical effects.
But it's,
I mean, there's a ton of CGI in Force Awakens.
Yes, there is.
And Last Jedi.
There is. But like those types of characters, there were more that were.
I mean, there was a lot of CGI. The prequels have a lot of problems, and I don't think that the CGI is the root of the prequels problems. But there is, I think, and I think what a lot of films are realizing these days, which is what Jurassic Park knew way back then, which was the best thing to do is marry these technologies. So yes, there are scenes that you need computer graphics, but you should be practical when you can, and you can combine these two things together to make something special and, more importantly, timeless, because there are so many other CG shots from movies that came out around at the same time that have not aged well. But the CG in this movie, you can see it seams a little bit. It's a little too glossy. It's like they couldn't handle textures as well in computer graphics back then. But it still holds up really, really well. It has a sense of presence and scale and wonder to it. And you combine the scenes with the animatronics. And I think one thing this movie also does really well is the animatronics are so good that when a scene cuts from practical T-Rex to CG T-Rex, it's tough to notice. I think you can if you're looking for it.
If you're Scotty, you can.
But certainly in 1993, no. I mean, this was incredible. Like, this was jaw-droppingly amazing. And
jaws dropping.
And Tim, I was I was the age of the character when I saw this movie. So like Tim is your entry point into this movie as a kid. And the thing that I love is this movie ages with you, I think, because I've watched this movie so many times. I can't tell you how many. I think other than Ghostbusters, this might have been one of the movies I watched the most times. And I think you start off as a little boy and you're Tim, and then you maybe identify with like the early teens Alex a little bit, and then before you know it, you're Alan Grant,
and you're this cynical old man who doesn't believe anything's real. Man, children are the worst.
But he learns that they're not.
Does he?
He bonds with the children's.
Does he?
He does. The movie ends with him with the children's like around his arms, and Ellie smiles at him. Yeah, because he's trying
to strangle them.
Wow, you're being very cynical.
It's okay.
Considering you love Peter Pan, I don't understand why you hate children all of a sudden.
Grow up, leave them behind.
So that's me. Talk to me about Jurassic Park.
I really enjoyed this movie. I think it took me a while because the dinosaurs really did scare me when I was little. And I actually had a very vivid nightmare about velociraptors when I was younger that were chasing me because of this movie through my grandma's house. And it was a very scary time. And so that was really hard. But the baby dinosaur in the egg was super cute. And I remember I watched this movie and it was like, it terrified me. And then I would make myself watch it again and again because I knew it was fun and I knew it was good and there were things that I liked about it. And so I just had to remember when those scary moments were so that it didn't get me the next time. And I loved the water scene in the beginning, both water scenes. I don't know why I loved so much the fact of the little water droplet on the hand in the car, but I would reenact that scene with myself and with my sisters and be like, let's see if we can get the water droplet to go the other direction.
Tiny imperfections
let's
in the
see.
Skin.
Yes. And I don't know why we'd do that. We just thought it was funny. And then with the water that would have the ripple because it was coming. And it's just like, I think one thing that I like about both of these movies in particular is that these movies have very iconic things in them, I think, and very quotable. And it's like a lot of the references that I want to make, or like the things that I would want to, like draw back on to either you or my family. Like there are quite a few that come from both of these movies. And I really appreciate that. And I think that that's just because, like what we said. I mean, Spielberg makes fun kids movies.
What are some quotes that you find yourself saying from this?
Oh, I don't know. I can't even think of them now anymore.
You must go faster. You must go faster. Has one big pile of shit. I can't even think of them
now. No, we don't do that.
What do you mean we don't do that?
We wouldn't.
We don't poop.
This is one big pile of poop. No.
Is that your Jeff Goldblum impression?
No, that's my sister impression. I'm just kidding. It's not my sister. No, I can't even think of them now.
So you love this movie because it's infinitely quotable, but you can't think of any of the quotes. Okay.
I'm drawing a blank, and I just watched this movie, and I can't think of it anymore. I'm so sorry.
30 minutes ago, we watched this movie.
I'm so sorry.
That's okay. I think the cool thing, like, this version of the movie is so Spielberg, because...
Well, duh, he made it.
You've never read the book, right?
I've never read the book,
The book is similar in some ways and very different in others. The biggest change to the book is that in the book, John Hammond, Richard Attenborough's character, is a terrible human being. He's awful. He's a money-grubbing asshole who dies at the end of the book. He gets eaten by compies, the little tiny dollar stores that are used in the second film. Mm-hmm. Of course, that's not Steven Spielberg. He would not do that. Steven Spielberg identifies with the John Hammond character, and therefore makes him a much more sympathetic, understanding character who just wanted to bring something real to people without fully understanding the consequences of doing so. Mm-hmm. Ian Malcolm dies in the book.
What?
Yeah, they kill him off. But then...
You know why they didn't do it in the movie? Because it's Jeff Goldblum.
You ever seen that meme where, like, someone says, people always ask me how to pronounce my last name. And I'll tell you the same thing I tell all of them. How dare you talk to me?
He's so great.
He's amazing.
He was in Dallas at the fan con. We didn't go.
I'm sorry. They killed off Ian Malcolm in the book, and then Michael Crichton went back and wrote The Lost World, the sequel to this book. I'm pretty sure, like, Spielberg said, write the sequel to this book because I want to make the movie based on it. But we want Jeff Goldblum back. So in the sequel book, in The Lost World, the book, Ian Malcolm is back. And they just say, oh yeah, we reported him dead at the end of that book, but he wasn't really dead. That was an error. He's back.
The power of Steven Spielberg.
Yeah. He brings people back to life.
Resurrected.
So what else? What else about Jurassic Park? What's your opinion on the rest of the movies in this series? Because this is a series that's about to get a new entry.
Ask me how many of the movies in this series I've seen,
How many of
Scott.
the movies in the series have you seen?
I saw the Chris Pratt one.
That's it?
That's it.
Wow. You've never seen The Lost World?
Nope.
Wow.
I saw bits and pieces of one where it was like there was a glass, like a terrarium thing that they were all in, and there were these flying things.
It's the third one. That's real bad.
That's the only part. It was a scene. It was on like TBS one morning.
Yeah.
And that's the only part that I've seen.
So Spielberg directed The Lost World as well, which is one of his rare moments. I think outside of Indiana Jones, I don't know if he's ever directed like a sequel. I don't know if I can back that up. I think that's true. So he came back and directed this one. It's not a very good movie. But there are still some Spielberg magic moments in it. We'll have to watch that. There's a scene with the trailer where they're in like a camper trailer that gets attacked by 2 T-Rexes, and it's a wonderful scene, wonderful sequence from beginning to end. It's so great. Poor Richard Schiff gets
Does he get eaten?
Doesn't doesn't do very
They
well.
all get eaten, except for the main ones.
Um,
You know what I do like about both of these movies too?
the music.
Yes. But, you know, and it's just like John Williams and Steven Spielberg. I don't know how many movies Steven Spielberg has done where he has not had John Williams. Your trumpet, it's so good. Bum, 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 bum. Yeah, that was good. But then I was thinking too, like, I really like the music in this. And I think that John Williams works really well with Steven Spielberg because of the types of movies that Steven Spielberg does.
Mm-hmm.
And John Williams does not do like indie, very like
Indiana
small
Jones?
scale artsy movies. No, he does Indiana Jones. But
You said
his
indie.
style of music,
It's bombastic and
it is
loud,
very
and
bold.
awe-inspired. Yeah,
And it does have its place, and that's good, but it's just like it's all encompassing for you. And I think that they're,
it's Spielbergian. It really is.
yeah, it's beautiful stuff, and I really enjoy it. And there are like so many, like you think of iconic movie scores, and you think of John Williams, but you know, he's great. He's not my favorite composer for music right now, but he's really good.
He's iconic. He's one of the greatest. Yeah, I mean, like, you love music, so you're always going to probably have some lesser known composers that you like better. One of whom died.
I was so sad.
Johann Johansson.
He was amazing.
So good.
So fantastic.
But yeah, I mean, it's like, God, it's like, even the hook music, I don't like that music. The music, or I don't like the film. The music's great. The music's great. It has the same kind of feel. And I feel like you can always recognize a John Williams score.
You can. He has a lot of brass.
It's not that he's copying himself. It's just he has a style.
He's not. But then when you start to listen to all of them, they're like those little 5 to 10 second spots in each one where it's like, oh my gosh. Like I did that, was it Jurassic Park, where it was playing and I was like, oh my gosh, that's Home Alone.
Mm-hmm.
That's Home Alone. And then
it's just he has a style, and if he wants to convey a certain emotion, he has a certain rhythm that he will go back to. That's composers. That's the themes. The big themes are still very unique and different.
Yeah.
And I wonder how we tend to undersell the importance of music on our love of movies, right? Like
we do.
Not we specifically. I mean, people.
I will agree with that. Yes.
I mean, they're like, we normally think of like if there's a especially like significant theme piece, we'll remember that, like the Jaws theme, the Jurassic Park theme is one, people, Star Wars, but like the themes are really big and important too. But the rest of, I mean, there's still a lot of score in there that is not the main theme, and how important that is to conveying your emotion through the picture. And I think that's what Jurassic Park has. It has a great theme, but I think that the score in general is fantastic.
It's like, really good.
From top to bottom, from big bombastic dinosaur theme to threatening theme to the happier things, the happier moments. I think it's all there, and it all conveys this sense of wonder, and that's what this movie is. It's wonder. There's the line that really worked on me this rewatch that I didn't expect it to is like the one that people joke about a lot, like the when Alan Grant says they're moving in herds. They do move in herds, and it's like it's been made fun of on some other things, but there's a lot of emotion to that line, because basically what it is
him getting confirmed everything that he thought
like,
that was true in his studying. It was like,
they're doing
it. Yeah. They're doing it. They're doing what I thought they were doing. Oh my gosh.
And he's just blown away. And it's like, this is what I've devoted my life to. And I never thought it would be possible to get confirmation. Like, how could you confirm if a dinosaur moved in a herd or not. You can't. Like, this is something he never thought was possible, and Sam Neill does a great job at it, but the music behind it just sells that moment. And it's so good. I love this movie so much. So much.
It's a good one.
So, I think that's all we got for Spielberg.
Spielberg, yeah. He's a good one.
What other good Spielberg movies? We've done that already. Let's move on
we've
to
already done that.
Let's let other people tell us what are good Spielberg movies.
We're going to do that?
Yeah, we're going to do that. Last week's question, it was rather simply, what is your favorite Steven Spielberg movie? It sounds like a simple question. Tougher to answer.
It's going to be really tough for me too because my computer just closed out.
Okay.
So you're going to have to take the lead on this one.
First, Prof says Jaws. Jaws, you've seen Jaws, correct?
We saw Jaws on the water together.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
I think I've seen Jaws.
Oh, yeah.
That was a really fun experience, too. I don't know if
you live
everywhere does that.
If you live in Texas, Alamo Drafthouse does Jaws on the Water, which is like part of the Rolling Road show where they rent like a lake or something and give everyone inner tubes, and you float in an inner tube while watching
In
Jaws.
The lake, yeah.
It's awesome. Do it.
It was really fun, too, because they had a lot of face paint and stuff where they would paint shark bites on you.
Mm-hmm.
And I still have a picture of you and I where they painted one on my leg. And I pretended like I was in pain. And I show it to my kids almost every year.
I'm sure they love
pretending that it's me having gotten bitten by a shark.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really fun. But they also do a lot of just like other really fun like party things in general, too. That we need to probably look into do more of. There was that bottle rocket one that I wanted to do, but we didn't get the chance to do.
I was coming back from Fantastic Fest. Yeah.
Yeah. It was just hard. It would have been hard for us to do.
All right. Kevin says there's a toss-up between Indiana Jones and The Last Crusade and Minority Report. He says Last Crusade has a lot of nostalgia for him. Minority Report is probably the one he finds the most rewatchable. Have you seen Minority Report? The Tom Cruise one?
Yeah, they scan the eye. Right.
That is a very good movie. It's one of those movies that...
I probably haven't seen it as much.
It's one of those movies that I wonder... I feel confident knowing that if someone other than Steven Spielberg had directed it, it would not have been half as good. It's a very, very good science fiction movie with Steven Spielberg direction that just knocks it out of the park. I like it a lot. And Last Crusade is good. I don't think it's my favorite Indiana Jones. I still think Raiders has to be my favorite, but
Last Crusade was
Connery.
The one, with Sean Connery. I liked the one with Sean Connery. I like Sean Connery in that. Sean Connery was not my favorite Bond.
Okay.
I liked Roger Moore.
Wonketh.
He agrees with me.
He does. He says Hook.
He thinks it's the best. I agree with you. We've got good taste. I bet you if we found something else, we could pick a category. We'd find some good taste together as well.
Vegeta says he agrees with Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Mm-hmm. It's so much fun, and Harrison Ford and Sean Connery's relationship is very enjoyable to me. I kind of based one of the first D&D adventures I DM'd on that series, which gives it the bonus nostalgia points in my book. That's the power of nostalgia.
I think that it's fun with that relationship, too. I think it was just...
Oh, you mean Harrison Ford as Indiana Jones, who had a shitty absentee father? Steven.
You've already established that it's...
I know, I'm just reinforcing it.
Yes. Frustrated with Freebooter, I think that
he was
joking.
He was joking.
I thought he was joking. But he joked and said Ready Player One.
Just to piss me off, I think. I think that was right after the Daily Planet podcast had come out, where I was the only dissenting opinion out of our group on that.
And you know what? I appreciate your joke. I appreciate you doing that.
Who's next?
Fowler. His favorite was Hook.
I don't think that's what it says here.
I mean, he also said maybe Temple of Doom, but I know he really meant Hook.
Elyse wrote Temple of Doom, a.k.a. Hook, which doesn't make any sense.
Because he had written Hook, a.k.a. Temple of Doom. So I just switched to the ACA.
Okay.
I just switched it.
That's not fair.
It's fine.
Who's next?
Saragog. Did I say that right?
Sure.
Saving Private Ryan, it's not his favorite. His favorite is probably Jurassic Park, but he remembers it having a big emotional impact on him. And Saving Private Ryan is amazing. It is an emotional movie. Like, extremely emotional.
It changed how we made war movies. Like
that opening scene with that, it was just like, it was phenomenal.
War movies copied this movie. The war movies are still copying Saving Private Ryan.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
Tildy said Close Encounters of the Third Kind, which, you know what, Tildy?
No. This is when
Scott has not seen this movie. I have seen this movie. I have seen Close Encounters of the Third Kind, and Scott has not.
I don't know why not. It's sitting on my shelf
there. We talked last weekend about biggest movie gaps, and that should have been your biggest movie gap. We didn't even think about that.
This is it. This is my biggest movie gap.
It's a big bummer.
I'm sorry, everyone.
It's okay.
Finally, Tringard agrees with the sentiment and says Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, agreeing that the Ford Connery plus nostalgia just make it too perfect now, even on rewatch. So I think if we're counting...
Hook won.
No.
Right?
No.
I think it did.
I think Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade
had 4, then Hook had 5.
Hook did not have 5.
Then Jurassic Park had 2.
Okay. Elyse?
I think I'm a math teacher. I think I know how to count.
Take your hook and get out of here.
I'll just sharpen my hook and slit you with it like a velociraptor would.
That was nice. You tied them together.
Yeah.
This is perfect.
Yeah.
Bad form.
Pretty good.
Bad form.
Bad form, Peter. Bad form.
All right. Elyse, why don't you tell me what we got going on next week?
So next week, it's a really exciting week because your little sister is not getting married, but she's having her wedding ceremony.
Yeah, they're doing a ceremony.
And so we thought it would be fun. We originally had thought, maybe wedding movies, but then we were looking at wedding movies and we thought, they're not like fantastic. There were some that were good. And so then we decided instead of just doing wedding movies, we both have younger siblings. Mm-hmm. Actually, Scott and I are both middle children. And so we thought this next week we would pick our younger siblings' favorite movies and watch those. And so my little sister is huge into the fashion industry and actually works for a company.
So I think we basically kind of guessed, I think, what our siblings' favorite movie would be, and then we texted them to confirm it, because that's what you said, right? Like, you expected this to be her choice. Mm-hmm. Because I asked my sister, and I expected mine to be her choice, and I was right.
Well, yeah, you've said it before.
Yeah, so I think we were both kind of right, which, hey, that makes us good siblings.
Yeah, it does.
So sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
My little sister's favorite movie is The Devil Wears Prada, which is going to be an interesting movie because of the people that are in it, but I'll elaborate more on that next week.
Anyone that is good at acting.
I love people that are good at acting when they're actual legitimate actors.
All right, and my baby little sister's favorite movie is The Fountain, the Darren Aronofsky film with huge Jackman and who's the other lady?
Rachel
Weisz. Rachel Weisz. Great movie.
I'll see if I like it. I've never seen it before.
Never seen it. I've never seen Devil Wears Prada.
You've never seen Devil Wears Prada?
I've seen it.
I was about to say, wow. But no, I've never seen The Fountain. I am not a huge Darren Aronofsky fan, but
you've seen 2 of his movies.
Yeah, and it's about 50-50. I think I've seen 30. Not 30. I think I've seen 3. I meant 3. I was in percents there. But our question next week for everyone is that if you have a sibling, what film do you immediately think of when you think of them? If you're an only child, how about a close friend? So it doesn't have to be what their favorite movie is, but it's just like when you think of your sibling, you think of, oh my gosh, this movie. It could be because it's something that you watched with them. It could be because of the character that's in the movie. But who do you think of? And then again, if you're an only child, you can do parent, I guess, more of, or you can do close friend, whatever family member it is that you think of.
It was a National Siblings Day this week. We're a little bit late. Well, we didn't realize that when we were deciding our topic. Yeah. So just pretend like next week is all about siblings.
We're really good at pretending things. You know, this week was all about our imagination and getting back into touch with our imagination.
I'm going to imagine that next week is National Siblings Week.
You know what? If you imagine it enough, maybe it'll become real.
If you can dream it, you can do it.
Yep.
Just like bringing dinosaurs back from extinction.
Mm-hmm. Just find that one mosquito.
All right.
And the frog.
That is ruin the world. That is all we have time for this week. If you enjoy this show and want to see all the other things we do here at the Daily Planet, you can check us out at dailyplanetfilms.com. Also, consider donating to our Patreon account. Head on over to patreon.com/dailyplanetfilms. That's DALY. And you can see all the different donation levels we have and the rewards that you get for each of them. So check that out. And, Elyse.
Yeah?
Do we have any reviews to read?
No.
It's right, we're out of reviews. So if you were listening to this on iTunes, if you are on iTunes or have an iPhone right now and are listening to me talk and have not yet
You don't have to have an iPhone, do you? You can listen to iTunes and everything. So if you've got a phone, if you have a computer, if you have any device that connects to the internet, you have no excuse.
Find us on iTunes, rate us, review us, leave a review, tell Elyse how to read it. Someone made her rap. No one else has told her what to do.
So I do what I want to do.
Opportunity. Remember that time she did Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Oh yeah,
that was weird. Make her do stuff like that. Review us. It helps. I promise. Share this podcast. We don't advertise this. We don't have enough money to.
We just do fake advertisements.
Yeah. But you can be our advertisement by rating and reviewing us. So do that.
Be what you want to be.
All right, guys. That's all we got. Elyse.
Yeah?
I love you.
Aww. I sure do love you too.
I'll talk to you. I guess this is the last time I'll talk to you until next week, right?
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna. I guess hold my breath.
Yeah. All right.
It was good.
I'll see you guys next week.
Bye bye.